Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Economy, and I'm your host, Napoleon Olarte. Since the last economic downturn in 2008, the economy has been in expansion. Many, like Peter Schiff, would like to argue that this expansion is not real. It has no real support because the Federal Reserve bailed out the financial system, stimulating the economy by lowering interest rates and applying quantitative easing, which in simple terms is nothing else than throwing money into the economy. Not letting the economy correct itself as it should, the Fed had created an artificially overextended period of expansion, and over the last few months, it has gone into a faster gear. With quantitative easing coming into an end last year and a huge government spending creating low unemployment and increased consumer demand. As a result, inflation has gone to the roof. Now, high inflation is good if you have debt, but it can be detrimental to the regular consumer's pocket. In order to slow down the economy, the Fed increases the Fed's funds rate, which is the rate that the Fed lends to banks overnight. In order to decrease consumer demand, this increase makes the banks increase their own interest rates of short-term consumer debt, like credit cards and car loans. And if the market anticipates that the Fed is likely to keep rates high for a longer period, long-term rates will also increase, like the rate on the 15, 20, and 30-year Treasury bill, from which mortgage rates are derived. The problem with this is that the Fed doesn't know how fast or slow to raise interest rates. If they raise rates too slow or not enough, inflation might not get under control. If they raise rates too much or too fast, consumer demand will get so low that inventories would increase and companies will have to lower production, potentially laying off employees, which would cause the economy to spiral down into a halt. So the Fed has to trial and error economic data as it works the economy out of inflation. In addition to that, you have government spending that doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. Just look at the inflation bill passed last week. Instead of easing inflation, it looks like it will stimulate inflation even more. If I were to make an analogy out of this, imagine a train that at the beginning it was hard to get it to go, but over time it took off at a fast speed, faster than it really should go. Somewhere along the way, you would notice that the train tracks going forward approaching a turn. To prevent a derailment, the engineer would have to apply the brakes to slow down the train. Now, imagine that the brakes are in the back wagon of the train, and the operator has to go apply a little bit of pressure and come back to check how much the train is slowing down. But every time the operator goes and checks on speed, another operator, let's call it the government, presses on the gas pedal, and that's what's going on with the economy right now. Going back to the real estate market, home buyers are interest rate sensitive. What this means is that interest rates affect monthly payments. Ask any loan officer what would be the difference in monthly payments of a $500,000 loan for 30 years at 2.5%, which was just a couple of years ago, and 4.75% last week. The difference is about $700. The problem with this is that wages do not increase before or at a faster pace than inflation, leaving many would-be buyers out of the game. As buyers get priced out of the market shifts, and sellers who are in need to sell might resort to becoming more flexible and may drop prices out of fear of not being able to sell their homes. As these dynamics of a market shift dilute into the consciousness and expectations of both buyers and sellers, with buyers stepping to the sidelines, waiting a year or two for prices to drop, and sellers dropping prices each time more aggressively, while interest rates keep on increasing, is what makes the market slow down. It slows down in what sense? Lower number of transactions and lower prices. For real estate professionals, that means less number of commissions. Now, some agents might have worked for years to position themselves ahead of the market. And what I mean by that is that they have worked hard the last few years, made money, and invested or diversified their income. But if an agent or loan officer hasn't done any of that, is looking ahead for some trouble. I hate to say it, I love this industry. I even went to school and got a bachelor in real estate. But the economy is heading where it's heading, and the real estate market is paying the price. It's going to be good for buyers, for sure. A few days ago, I met a handful of agents at a friend's birthday party and started asking questions about their thoughts on the state of the economy and how that will affect the real estate market. The affirmation I heard the most was that this time around it was different and it was not going to be as bad as 2008. I just stood up and listened. It wasn't the right time to pull out evidence of the state of the market. It was a birthday party. But of course, it is different. Every time is different. The last time, we didn't have the inflation factor, the reckless government spending, and years of fantasy expansion due to lower rates and quantitative easing. The forces are different, and a couple things have to happen for the market to turn around when it's all corrected, and that would be either wage increasing pairing up to inflation, the Fed stopping increasing rates, or a combination of the two. And all of that if we do not go to war or there is not a major climatic event. Now, I do take it to heart seeing young agents and loan officers thinking everything is going to be okay. I wish things were different, but the summer is ending and the market will slow down. If you're an agent out there listening, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be sour or defiant to you. You guys are my tribe. I was once like that. I believed what leaders at the convention would say and preach. But turn your head around a little bit. Why do you think industry coaches like Craig Proctor, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, and others, do your research. Why do you think they're talking about how to protect yourself from the upcoming market crash, crisis, or whatnot? Why are lenders shutting down and cutting workers? If the leader of your company is not telling you the truth, it is because he or she doesn't want you to quit tomorrow and find a job somewhere else. But you don't have to quit real estate. You could diversify your income. There are many ways to do it, but do it before it gets worse and your savings suffer. I've been in your shoes before. If you want to reach out, I'll be more than happy to talk to you, brainstorm, and share ideas with you. In future episodes, we're going to continue talking about real estate. I'm going to bring some data. If you want to start keeping a pulse of the market, I will show you what data you need to start tracking and where to get it. For now, this is it. Until the next episode, peace.